Hey there everyone, this is Cloud Chief, and in today's video I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about the reward system that you can get from Ambuscade. To get rewards from Ambuscade, you need to accumulate points, and there are three different groups of rewards that you can get from Ambuscade, and I will be going into each one individually. Just to briefly go over, even though I did cover this in my other video, there are two different sets of points you get for clearing Ambuscade. You get hallmarks, which are directly reflected of the volume and difficulty you're doing, so the higher the difficulty, the more points you get. And then Gallantry, where Gallantry is affected by the difficulty you're doing. By doing a higher difficulty, you will get more. However, you also need to do it with additional people, so you need to have 6 members in your party to get full Gallantry for whatever your difficulty is. If you go in solo a Ambuscade, you will get 0 Gallantry, no matter, even if it's the hardest difficulty there is. So you always want to be doing this with 6 people, so that way you're getting the maximum amount of points you can get. With that said though, with hallmarks, there are 2 different ways that you can get rewards from hallmarks. There is one where you would actually spend the hallmarks you accumulated for rewards, and then there is something called total hallmarks. Total hallmarks are essentially free rewards that are given to you for reaching a certain amount of total points. Just for clarity though, if you buy something from total hallmarks, it does not take away. So even if, say, you made 1,000 hallmarks and then went and spent them, you'll still have 1,000 total hallmarks and can take all the rewards up to 1,000 hallmarks. Because of this, if you're first starting out from Ambuscade, you want to focus with most of your rewards coming from total hallmarks. We'll get into the others a little bit later, but this is where you're going to get your upgrades, because if you get enough points in total hallmarks, you can get the NQ set for the salvage armor sets, and then even the +1 if you go far enough. With hallmarks, you can go ahead and buy currency that is used to upgrade relic, mythic, and Empyrean weapons. So they have dynamis currency, they have alexandrite, heavy metal plates, and so on and so forth. All the different, basic currencies that are used to upgrade your relic, mythic, and Empyreans. So this is a nice alternative to get some of those materials if you are working on a relic, mythic, Empyrean. Also, they have job-specific capes for each job, and there's also materials that you can use to augment these. These capes are by far the best capes for the job, depending on what augments you put on it. So in some cases, you even want multiple capes for a job. However, to note, you can only get 1 cape per job per month. So if you wanted to, say, do 3 different capes for Black Mage, you're going to have to wait 3 separate months to be able to get all of them. 1 month you can get 1 Black Mage cape, then the next month you get another Black Mage cape. However, you could get, say, a Black Mage, a Scholar, a War, a Ninja cape all in the same month. However, there is a limit on the augment materials you can get. I believe you can fully augment 2 capes with the materials you can buy with hallmarks, and then you can buy at least enough to make half of another cape with Gallantry, but that also requires a lot of points. You can also use hallmarks to buy slips to get Ambuscade armor. However, I do not recommend that you ever buy the slips for armor from hallmarks. I will get into how you should get your armor and progression for what I think is the best way. I want to go ahead right now and touch on Gallantry for a minute. Gallantry, it works a little differently. One, I already covered how you accumulate the points, but it seems month to month they cycle what currency you can use for upgrading relic, mythic, and Empyrean weapons. They will only have one type of currency, so they might have dynamis currency 1 month, and then next month they will have heavy metal plates, rift cinder, and rift dross for Empyreans. And then next month they may have alexandrite and whatever the 1 drop you get from Pandemonium Warden. The cape drops, the armor slips, and the metal that you get from Gallantry are standard each and every month. The last thing in the reward system that I have not touched on is the fact that you can get these things called medals, and you pretty much can use the medals to upgrade your armor. 5 medals can be used to upgrade an NQ piece to a +1 piece. However, I highly recommend you never do this, because that seems like a waste of medals. Because you can take 10 medals and use them to turn a +1 piece into a +2, and I think this is what you should be using all your medals to do. There is a limit of 20 medals per month in Ambuscade. You can get 10 medals from Gallantry, each for 1,000 apiece, so that's 10,000 Gallantry to get the 10 medals from there. Then you can get 5 medals from hallmarks for 200 each, so for 1,000 hallmarks you can get 5 medals from there, and then to get all 5 from total hallmarks you will need a total of 20,000 hallmarks. Each week that Ambuscade is going on, there will be a reset in your records of eminence that you can set to clear Ambuscade, and you will get a seal. You can use these seals, and the next time you clear Ambuscade, you will get 3 times the points that you would normally get for each seal. Once you use a seal, it lasts for 3 days. However, I highly recommend you use these seals for the highest difficulty that you can currently handle, because you want to get that multiplier on the highest reward to get the maximum benefit out of it. I'm now going to be taking some time and go into my recommendation for how you should be getting armor and progressing your character. Granted, to do this efficiently and to go through everything I'm about to say requires a lot of Ambuscade per month, so fair warning before I get into this. So I am going to go ahead and take the stance that you have never done Ambuscade before and never gotten any rewards out of it. So when you start doing Ambuscade, you'd want to be doing it and mainly be focusing on getting rewards out of the total tier. The main reason you want to do that is because you're not losing any points, and yet you are gaining armor and other things from it. Your first goal should be to accumulate a little over 1,000, 1,050 points, and by doing that you can get a full set of NQ armor of your choice. Once you have that, you should be upgraded enough so that hopefully, if you didn't have halfway decent armor before, you now have stuff that you can jump up to a little harder difficulty and be getting more points. At that point, you should continue to accumulate total hallmarks up until the point where you've gotten 14,500 total hallmarks. By doing this, you will have now been able to get a slip for a full +1 set of the salvage armor pieces. So the same sets that you could get of the NQ, you could now get a set of HQ. And it's highly recommended that you go through and do this each month and get the +1 pieces through total hallmarks each month until you've gotten all the armor slips from each armor set that you might actually want. So if you were trying to go for all of the +1 pieces from all the salvage sets, it would take you getting at least 14,500 total hallmarks each month for 5 months. By doing it for 5 months straight and getting that amount of points, you will have been able to get every piece of the salvage armor set +1 without doing anything else. Also to note, if you've already gotten your points to 14,500, you only need 5,500 more points to get your last medal out of total hallmarks. So that way you will have accumulated 5 medals there, and just spending 1,000 of your hallmark points in the hallmarks category, you can get the other 5. Therefore, you would then be able to turn around and upgrade one of your +1 pieces to now a +2 piece. Since you've now should have accumulated at least 14,500 hallmarks, because you have wanted to get that +1 body from the total hallmarks, you now have plenty of points that you can go ahead and start making a cape. You can go ahead and get your JSE cape and then start buying materials to upgrade your JSE cape. Just to note, there are different materials that are used for different stats. There is a thread, dust, sap, and dye. Each of these will put a different attribute on. And just to note, you can't mix and match the attributes. So, like if I wanted to do something from a thread category using thread to upgrade it, I can only then push it further. I think dust is attributes, so if I were to put strength on a cape with dust, adding more dust will only push strength up further. There is a needle that you can use to remove a stat, so that way you could always go back and replace it, but just noting how it works. So that's how you would trade items to upgrade it. Threads and dust both are a maximum of 20 upgrades per slot, while saps and dye are only 10. Also to note, you may see that you can get NQ slips for armor from hallmarks for the Limbus and Nizzle Isle gear sets. I highly recommend you do not purchase these from here, because you can actually get the +1 pieces of these from Gallantry. However, the +1s only come from Gallantry. So if you were to spend your hallmarks on it, if you were to upgrade them to a +1, you would have to use metals, and I believe you're better off saving your metals to upgrade your other pieces to +2. And with that, that brings me to talking about the Nizzle Isle and Limbus variant sets. Like I just said, you can get the +1 pieces directly from Gallantry. However, this can be a decent bit of Gallantry, and that can take a decent bit of farming, even if you're on higher level difficulties. It's 800 Gallantry for the +1 feet, 1500 for the hands, 2500 for the head, 4,000 for the legs, and 7,000 for the body. So that's a decent bit more than just the metals. So if you wanted to go ahead and get all the metal and the Nizzle and Limbus +1 pieces each month, you would have to get 25,800 Gallantry to be able to purchase all of these things each month. Like I said before, if you were to do this, that is a lot of Ambuscade. However, if you were able to do this each and every month for 5 months straight, you would literally have every single +1 body piece, and at that point you would have been able to +2 10 pieces by getting all the metals out of this. And that is my recommendation for getting the armor. I highly recommend that you go about getting the +1 pieces. Of course, if your playtime is more limited, you should then, pick and choose which pieces you want. But I highly recommend that you get the +1 pieces that way. And I don't ever recommend you getting the NQ pieces for the Nizzle Isle and Limbus. Now, if you get the NQ of the salvage sets that you're getting from Total Hallmarks, that's fine, because that's an addition, and you can literally just toss the NQ pieces when you've gotten around to getting the +1 pieces from Total Hallmarks. And that pretty much sums up the Ambuscade reward system. While it is a lot, the armor and rewards you get out of Ambuscade are really good. All the armors that come from here bolster some of the highest accuracy you can get. Now, I know there is like some Reginima gear with really good augments that might have more accuracy, but it's not a whole lot higher than that, and that takes a significant amount of time and can even cost a lot of money in stones getting the augments, where these armors are just how they are out of the box, and they're pretty solid armors. So I highly recommend doing Ambuscade to get yourself upgraded, and I recommend going down these paths to get your armor pieces. The only other thing is it's nice to, like I said, get additional material. It's a great place to get Alex and heavy metal plates and additional material from there. I highly do not recommend getting Dynamis currency unless you literally have no other place to spend your currency for the rest of the month if you've done that much Ambuscade, because it's just better to go farm Dynamis than it is to spend your points on Dynamis currency, in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some value out of it. I hope this helps you out with getting your rewards from Ambuscade, and may you have success in all you do.